Dear comrades in arms and dear guests, wonderful and a good morning to you. I'm very pleased to be here in this beautiful place and to welcome you on behalf of the German National Committee of ICOMOS to our conference on adaptation strategies for monuments in the context of climate change. The increasingly catastrophic effects of what we now almost euphemistically call climate change, and what not so long ago was much more ominously referred to as global warming, will occupy and affect us all for the rest of our lives. Our cultural heritage also suffers more and more from extreme weather events, temperature changes, or almost imperceptible influences such as changes in humidity. Here we are only at the beginning of the accumulating problems and still have little sound knowledge about what strategies we can use to respond sustainably and meaningfully in the long term. There is a great need for exchange of experience and knowledge, but also for reliable data and knowledge. It is already difficult to get an overview of the current knowledge gained with regards to adaptation strategies. The task is too complex, the initiatives are too diverse and distributed, and this is precisely where we'd like to take up and try to make this blurred picture a little clearer in an exchange and introspection. ICOMOS Germany and the University of Bamberg have conceived this conference together with the Association of Monument Authorities in the Federal States and the German Foundation, German National Committee for Monument Protection, and the German Federal Foundation for the Environment, in order to be able to name and address as many tasks as possible that we all, and therefore best, and that we all have to face together. In addition to lectures and visits to specific sites, our idea was to focus primarily on discussion, and this is what the theme tables are primarily intended for, which will make up a large part of the second day of the event tomorrow. And we hope that this will lead to interesting exchanges and new collaborations, and we would also like to learn from the experiences of garden heritage conservation, which has to accept and react to climate change as a factor cannot be ignored. That is why you will also see some elements of monument conservation in the program. Learning and exchanging can help us and can be an impetus to reflect on deficits in our strategies and networking. When it comes to the big current issues such as sustainability, resource conservation, prevention, should really be part of the discourse. I've been dealing with this for almost centuries, so we have experience and can rely on a fundamental discourse. De facto, however, this role can hardly be observed, and perhaps we should also ask ourselves why we're now forced to react and have not been able to bring our expertise into the social and political discourse in a more sustainable way. It is certainly not too late to claim more attention here, to call for more attention. However, this can only be achieved if we work together and draw on the great wealth of knowledge and experience that can be found in our universities, offices, research institutions, and professional organizations through dialogue and cooperation. And so for this professional and institutional breadth is seen as essential for dealing with the topic. This conference was also created in cooperation. The preparation was a pure joy, I can say that, and we're very grateful to the University of Bamberg for making all this possible. Paul Bendorf supported the initiative and helped the event get off the ground quickly and without complications, so thank you very much for that. We're also particularly grateful to Franziska Prell for her support and commitment. Christina Kraftschick, who was unfortunately unable to attend today and had to cancel at short notice, helped to conceive and realize the conference on behalf of the Association of Monument Offices, Ulrike Wendland on behalf of the German National Committee for Monument Protection, and Constanze Fuhrmann on behalf of the German Federal Foundation for the Environment. I would also like to thank Alexandra Riedel for her contribution to the content, and Dörte Helmuth and John Sitzmann from the ICOMOS office in Berlin for their excellent organization. I wish us all an interesting and enlightening event and very much hope that together we will achieve something that can be built upon, and perhaps there will be a perspective for dealing constructively with the rather depressing topic of climate change. I'm glad that you're here, and thank you very much for your interest and your commitment. Ja, dear Tino, dear Ulrike Wendland, dear Miss Fuhrmann, dear Mr. Rode, dear speakers, dear guests. Part of the success story of monument conservation since the 1970s has been a professional diversification that has also confirmed very strange blossoms and many criticisms of the system of expert cultures, especially in our country. I'd like to welcome all here on behalf of the Small Competence Center for Monument Sciences and Technologies in Bamberg. When we founded this 7 years ago, we made the full-bodied promise to the ministry that we would pursue interdisciplinary research, that we would develop integrative methods across the disciplines, and that we would bring expertise together again. This succeeds particularly well done when one takes on an urgent task together, as you have all done here in these 2 days. And the fact that 4 major players in the field of monument preservation, Tino named them, have now come together here in the auditorium of our university for this conference, which focuses entirely on discussion, is a very great example for us here and has a great effect also internally, and I hope and no doubt this is going to be the case in the wider community. Thank you, dear Power, for making this possible for this very moment. I wish you and